So we start out with cutting a plaster bandage into strips. You can find them in a local pharmacy and they're pretty cheap. I got mine like for $50. This is how many strips we got. Then we prepare our face for casting. I apply Vaseline all over my face so that I can get the casting out of my face later. I also cover my hair with cling film so that the plaster doesn't stick to my hair. And then we take the bandage strips we prepared, dip them into warm water for a second, and start applying on the face. Make sure you smooth them out to evenly spread the plaster. I messed up a little by applying the strips over my mouth in wrong order, but that's not critical. After all is done, we wait for 5 or 10 minutes and start working our face muscles around so that the cast starts peeling off of our face. Do it slowly and be careful not to damage the cast. And so here we have our mask base. I cut off some of the imperfections to make the mask somewhat symmetrical. The plaster is very crumbly and to fortify it I apply PVA glue mixed with water 1:1. And I don't have a mannequin head, so I kept the mask in a plastic basin on top of a bag filled with paper tissues. Then I make the frame for the beak out of metal wire. I keep it in place with masking tape and then apply SBS glue for strong and secure bonding. You can choose a different type of glue. I used this one just because I had it laying around. After the glue dries, we secure the anchor points even more with a regular notebook paper and some PVA glue and water mixture we used before. I also make the eye holes smaller to shape them later. Then from the same metal wire we make brackets for our future strap. Add one more wire to the beak. Cut out a couple of breathing holes. Here's the paper mache I made from toilet paper and same old PVA glue mixed with water. This was my first batch ever, so it's a bit rough with big pieces and uneven, but this part of the mask will be hidden under the beak, so it's okay to use it here. I just need to fortify the structure around breathing holes. Here's how we're looking so far. This is what left over of my second batch of paper mache, which turned out much smoother, so I'll use this one for visible parts of the mask. Make sure you smooth it out and around as much as you can for smoother texture. I don't cover the whole mask at once because paper mache is wet and it softens the plaster bandage base. If I wetten the whole mask, it might deform a lot and become very fragile until it dries. Here you can see how much it flexes. My second batch ran out, so I made a new one. Also, by the second week of crafting this mask, I found a better way to keep it in place in a baking tray on top of 2 stacked toilet paper rolls. And then I covered the beak with paper strips, dipped into our PVA glue and water mixture. Make cutouts for the eyes even smaller. Continue applying the paper mache paste. I did it in the span of like 6 or 7 days, just to let it dry between every step. And I also have a regular job, so I don't have that much time every day to work on the mask. Make a groove and holes for the future stapled wound using the same metal wire. While covering the beak with paper mache on the underside, I left some parts uncovered to cut them out later for breathing. After covering the whole mask with first layer of paper mache paste, we start adding details and shaping it. Once the mask dries, it's time to start sanding. So after 3 or 4 hours of sanding, the mask still looked kinda rough, and it's cool if you're going for that kind of texture, but I wanted it to be a bit smoother, so I decided to use acrylic spackling paste over the paper mache. Once the spackle dries, we start sanding again. And you can see that the mask turned out much smoother. It's still not perfectly smooth, but it's much better than it was. And the spackle itself is really fragile and crumbly, so before we start painting the mask, I cover it with acrylic white primer. I use a regular kitchen sponge for priming and painting the mask too. And then we start painting the mask. I start out with 2 layers of somewhat bonish color, so it kind of looks like a bone. I give each layer of paint at least 12 hours to dry. I forgot to mention that I used a regular acrylic paint for this. And then the third layer is our main color, which is black for this mask. After the third black layer dries, we start aging the mask. I'm just gonna scratch the mask with the same sandpaper we used for sanding the mask. And then I add some scratches with these files. And be careful while sanding the mask for aging. I went a little bit too deep here, so you can even see the white spackle there. After we're done aging our mask, I'm gonna color the wound we prepared earlier with the dark reddish brownish color. and I use the rest of the paint to color inside of the mask. And then once the paint has dried, I cover the mask in matte varnish from inside and outside. After that I add metal staples to our wound. The staples are made from chrome-plated metal wire. And the final step is to add a strap.